I'm now in Decentraland for the very first time, and they have a little orientation island, and, well, this reminds me a lot of when I was new in Second Life. They had an orientation island too. They actually had a thing like this, and all the people would log in, they had numbers and whatnot. You'd get stuff and go to random places. Let's see if I can figure this out. Oh, apparently the mouse. Yeah, I should have done a tutorial, but I just want to get to it real quick. So that's events and that's crowds. And let's just click a random one. And the interesting thing about this Decentraland is you gotta connect with a crypto wallet, like MetaMask, so it's extremely crypto based. And we actually got to another land really quick, so that's a good sign right there. Only thing I don't like, which I guess you can change it, is when you go left and right, you see, you gotta do it with your mouse as well, so it's a two-handed thing. Normally, in other words, the camera follows. But let's go check something else here. I have a theory, and now that I'm on here I can see that when Second Life was new, they built a big continent, but they had like land masses, ice, snow, you name it. But there was no cohesive way to explore it. You would just fly around. So all the new continents after it was called Sansara, and all the names in that Second Life also have real world roots to it. Names of the continents and whatnot. Atoll, Sansara, you name it. Anyway, they started adding roadways and bike paths, railroads, which actually was more popular than they anticipated. It was one guy actually pushed for it, and the CEO at the time said, okay, he was like really on board. And you just go around, and a land that's along the roadside is more valuable because people explore. And in my plot of land, I border both the highway, main highway, and the very middle of the railroad. I would get passers-by. But you see, you got, when you do this, it's like, oh no, so we'll check out the Spanish museum if I can, there we go. Let's jump in. And it kind of loads okay. I'm kind of surprised about it. I remember there's a system I never really got a chance to play around with that much called Blue Mars, and I guess it's gone. I don't know what happened to it.
De tipo grant, vamos a ver un par.
Interesting.
Bueno, vamos a ver las que están aprobadas y esta que está rechazada.
So you see, now we go to the next parcel. And this person has a snowy scene. And there's one as a volcano. That was a Spanish museum. And I just don't like this two-handed navigation. Because if I want to scroll around, I can just hit control and further systems. Anyway, Blue Mars, it would load the entire word gigabytes, I understood. And this seems to be, it loads but streams at the same time. It's kind of, I wonder how far we can go before it acts like it has to do it again. See, these are all unnamed. Are they? It's Portland. Yeah, I can see it streaming in the background, you see? And the trees are loading. So it's similar about the cohesion. Now, I understand that. Now, it does remind me a lot. I mean, except for it's a different sort of modeling. just for the layout with the squares, it reminds me a lot of early Second Life. But even with the early Second Life, you didn't have to have a square. You can like cut out and make a be much more fluid with parcels. And I know it's supposed to be Decentraland, meaning decentralized. You see how it's all loading as I move? And I think that's just my graphics card not being memory's not as good as it should be. So you can see in the background buildings all coming in as I move, and you see. So it has the same premise I'm used to, where it all loads while you're there. Empty parcel. These people are buying parcels but not naming them, are they? Random numbers for credentials. Unnamed. Oh, I guess these snowy things all look default. So I guess no one put anything in them. I don't know if they own them or whatnot yet. This is still just the first impressions. But I know it's supposed to be decentralized, Decentraland. But you have all these parcels next to each other. And in my experience, very rarely... Oh, cool. Go campsite. Rarely do people have cohesion. I've been trying for years to get people to have cohesion as neighbors, and it doesn't really work. And you really do. I mean, they figured this out back during John Adams' time, that you have to have some sort of infrastructure, you know, someone has to maintain for private roadways. Now, I've seen in some cases also people have built like private roads, and if you can change the shapes of the parcels and just take what you need, there have been people, at least in Second Life, that made train lines that went through miles and miles and miles. Hey, this looks like a jiving, and you know, you do get that, but outside of, and that person actually spurred a whole building boom by his rail line. So, I mean, this doesn't have flying like for everything. I just have to run through all the parcels. I have to know where to go. So, there's going to be a cohesion issue. But let's go see if we can find one of the things in the news that everyone, like, goes to, or something fancy. Let's go, let me check this real quick. This says YouTube button. Builder. So here's another one right there. Considering that I keep reading about land boom, I can't imagine all of these being, like, unclaimed. Am I at the end of a continent? Look at that. This is interesting. Here we go. We actually have a road. But... oof. Look at that. I'm getting lag now. Which would make these very expensive if the economics still hold. Let's go look around at the map real quick. Yeah, I'm teleporting to a place called Space Office. And we'll see if it is an office space, or if we're at space. Oh, whoops. So I was talking earlier about public transit and whatnot, and look, we have a station and a train. Now, the thing about Second Life is we just have an infrastructure. Sometimes there are all trains in the, whoa, look at all that. There are a couple old trains laying around. They're kind of relics, sort of museum-like. But you can put your own in, and some people actually run their own, and litter from mainland. Same with like everything else. So the beginnings here is like remarkably similar. It's a space office, but this is just Jetson style stuff. So I mean, if you want to go back to like the early days, this is, I mean, it's okay. Not like they got street lights. I just feel like, here we go. Whoops. Ah, you see? I got to see what it was. Oh, here we go. Moonshot Stadium. I wonder if this is like a space theme side. I wonder if they have to open the door for me. Now, for one thing is, since I can't fly and whatnot in this system versus the other system, I am really hostage to people and their doors. You can't just like see. Oh, I see. So when it's green, it's loading. You see? Or maybe it's just a barrier. So I want to check out one last... I mean, this is turning into more of a stream than a video, because I'm not really sure how to do. I guess more of a reaction video is what I'm trying to do right now. But are these all like empty? I mean, they're not for sale. Or are they just not changing names? Because you see that every so often. Hey, look, there we go, car dealership. See, now that's what it's supposed to be about. There are NFT events since 2018. Live events, QR codes. Now, the NFT portion of this actually sort of intrigues me because the issue with, my goodness, look at that. You think it has its own charm here, I'll admit. Even though it's blockier and more game-like than I'm used to. December 4th. But it's got two things comparing to Second Life. Is every time I go somewhere in Second Life, I always have a date that's too odd. I always miss all the events. And we have that here. The second thing is that I remember when they had open... I mean, I guess they still exist. But it was like an open grid. And they say, oh, well, you can transfer your stuff and your inventory and your avatar. But... the only way you could do that is you had to have transfer materials, because there you can, there's permissions. You can copy things, modify them. It's all self-explained. Or transfer means you can give it to other people. And most of the stuff you buy, you can't transfer between people. So I can't transfer between grids. So this NFT business would probably solve that. But on the other hand, if this Decentraland is big enough and becomes, you know, people won't go to multiple grids is an issue. And then there's like programming languages and whatnot, that's also an issue. So, I mean, you got these cars here, and they have like a script you can drive them around and interact with them. Interesting. You, we'll do that later. Other thing is, it's gonna need to be a way to like bookmark. And I don't know if I'm just not seeing it because I didn't do it for a tour and whatnot to see how to do things. But so like for over grids, for open grids, because it became open source, they weren't as big because people stay, you know, like these social media things. There's competitors to all of these, but people don't go on them because they stay. So am I transferring this car from this universe to another one? You know, I don't really fully see it. I'm just at this one car dealership. I'm looking at all the cars you can buy. 5 Ethereum. Let's see. Right now, as I'm recording this, Ethereum is about $3,000. So 5 times for, I mean, 15,000. Okay, let's say my math is right. This SUV is the price of a real SUV. Now, if I'm spending, if I'm spending that much on an SUV, which is like really cool, but okay. So sometimes I find the best way to get around is to scroll around the map. But I'm not finding like what I want. So if you hit explore, you got your highlights placed sort and here we go, Samsung. And I don't know if I messed up because I just saw this in the news today. Let's go see, maybe I clicked it wrong. We're just gonna see. This is like, I'm on a web browser, so, you know, I don't know. Let's do 1080. Okay. And we really don't know how bad that could actually be, considering it's just a web browser and not a client. So, we can do that. And every time I click this, it comes up with a different name. I keep trying to write something about myself, and it doesn't take. I don't understand, but that's fine. I'm wondering if my realm has something to do with where I can go. Oops, explore places. The Samsung area. I can't find any way to use search to look for things here. It has to be like I have to get lucky. Here's all the different people popping in right now using the system. So, I mean, this is cool. It's something where you can get NFTs and whatnot, and a limited edition whatchamacallits, which, I mean, I like Samsung generally, so I'd be interested in. But I'm looking at this, and this reminds me, before my time, there was a land boom about, goodness, was it like 15 years ago? In Second Life, all these companies are going in there, and you had Coca-Cola and AMD, and I don't even remember who else. I wasn't even really there. I saw the back end of some of these Sims before they finally pulled the plug. And this is back in a time where things were, you know, blocky. And this is still blocky. It's a different type of blocky. But, didn't even understand why they were there. I mean, considering back then, the graphics didn't look good. So what they saw, go with the AMD website was actually around, and I know the guy who put the train in, because they bought his train and had installed it. And, it wasn't even like set up. It didn't tell me anything about the products. It was like it was a dead relic that had no interest. And this one's set up kind of interesting. And I see a lot of articles. This goes, like headline is Samsung that gives us a virtual where we didn't ask for. That's one of the headlines and other things. And outfits. And graphical input. Yeah, that's probably just CS, you know. So I was kind of curious to see this personally. Just to see if this really was connected with the product, or is this, you know, just a random experience just to capitalize on it. So far it's interesting, but I mean, it's not too bad. Yeah, if you want to, like, race and cheat. Now the Pixel Theater.
By 2020.
Come back. And, I mean, I'm not even, like, looking for product. It's sort of kind of like ideals, I guess, so to speak. So that's the tag I'm supposed to be looking for. Already got the badge. Okay. Yeah, so it wasn't really like a showroom. It was like a game with or an area. It's conceptual. There's a theater. It's all. I mean, it's sort of pixel art. I come down here. I got the Last Slice Pizzeria. And I guess my last impression of this is that being earthbound and just running, it's actually really tiring. And it's, quite honestly, it's wearing me out. Not being able to just double click or fly from location to location. Or have a map that actually shows me what the things are without, like, waiting for each square to tell me that it's untitled. Untitled. Oh, there's a gamer district. And whatnot. So, I think that's my first impression, is that it's not... Oh, it's not a private road. It's, I mean, I see it's the type of thing that people like and whatnot, but I'm actually not so sure, but I will continue to check it out as the fad moves into us and see what we get after this, progress. And see, it's all entitled. I'm sure there's things here. I mean, they might be building anything? I don't know. So, that's it for now. We'll see you in the next one.